So I'm back finally to make a video. I haven't made a video probably in like 2 weeks because if you guys follow me, then you know I just had a baby. So I am of course here to do my labor and delivery story for you guys. Sorry if the lighting isn't that good. I'm using natural light. I'm sitting in front of my window like always, but it's like really gloomy and cloudy outside today and it's gonna storm, supposed to. So yeah, it's not like sunny and bright or anything like that. But so yeah, I'm here to do my labor and delivery story. I've missed filming. I finally just found the time to film for you guys today. It took me an hour to create this look and to throw my hair in this bun just because I had to keep stopping with the baby and the other kids. So while she's sleeping, I'm gonna go ahead and get started with this video. Okay, so I have been so anxious and excited to do this video even while I was still pregnant, and I had such great births with my previous children, and I wish I was doing the whole YouTube thing so I could have done the labor and delivery story with them and the whole capturing that moment, but that's okay. So yeah, I'm excited to do this video. I was scheduled to have my daughter, well, my due date was on October 18th, if you guys, like I said, if you guys been following with my videos, but I was scheduled to be induced on October 19th, and so yeah, I went in at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it was such a long day, you guys. Like when I tell you, it was the longest day ever in my life, like the longest labor, all that stuff. Like it was just ridiculous. But even though it was long, it was still easy, and I had a pretty smooth delivery at the end. So I got there at 6 in the morning, and it just so happened that 3 other girls were there or got there at the same time, so they were in labor as well, and one was an emergency, so they weren't really working on me right when I got there. Like I didn't get like hooked up and everything right away. So it was about 8 o'clock once I got like my Pitocin and everything. Oh, and she did check me when I got there, and I think I was 2 to 3 centimeters dilated already, which is really weird because for some reason my body goes into labor on its own when I'm supposed to be induced. That happened with my son as well. So yeah, I was already having contractions and all that stuff. I woke up, and I always wake up feeling weird. I remember with my son, and I woke up that next morning to go be induced, I felt really weird, and the same thing happened this time. So yeah, I was about 2 to 3 centimeters when I got in my Pitocin around 8 o'clock, something like that. So you guys, the day went by so, like the day went by pretty quick, but the labor was so slow. I stayed at like a 4 centimeters all day because like they checked me when I got there, and then she didn't even check me again until it was like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And so like we're like, has anything changed? You know, I guess because I don't know why they didn't check me sooner. But when she checked me around 4 o'clock, I was only 4 centimeters. So from 8 o'clock till that time, I only dilated like 1 more centimeter, which sucked because it had been like almost the whole day. And so, and I was contracting, I was having contractions, but I guess at this point for my 3rd child, I know how to handle contractions pretty well. I know how to breathe through them and just kind of get through them easier without having to have medicine or anything. So I was definitely having them, but like I said, I know how to breathe through them and just kind of handle them. So the doctor finally got there, probably I think it was like 7 o'clock, and he checked me, and I still was only like 4, I think he said I was like 4 centimeters, a tight 4, something like that. And so I wasn't really progressing like I was hoping. So I got more Pitocin, and then okay, yeah, so once he got there and checked me, I wasn't really progressing very much. So he was like, well, okay, you got an epidural, I'm gonna go ahead and break your water. And I was like, no, I haven't got my epidural yet, I don't feel like I need it. And so the doctor said like, yeah, she's being tough, blah blah blah, you know, because I was handling the contractions. And so he was like, well, no, just go ahead and get your epidural, and then we'll just speed the process along a lot faster. So I went ahead and got my epidural. That process was very quick and easy. I was so surprised because with my son, it was the doctor like had to keep sticking my, you know, back there, and it just was really painful, and you're having contractions while they're giving you an epidural, so it just was really painful. But this time the anesthesiologist was really quick, she was really great, so I really liked her. So yeah, I got my epidural, and then he broke my water, I want to say a little bit after that, and then he checked me again. And really quickly I went to 7-8 centimeters. So no, he gave me my Pitocin. He gave me my I got my epidural, and then I progressed to like 7 centimeters really quickly. And then he came in and broke my water, and so yeah, I was like progressing a lot, and they upped my Pitocin. And so yeah, I was just relieved because the contractions were getting closer together, like a minute apart. And if you've been in labor before, you know that minute goes by so quick, and then here comes another contraction, and then that minute goes by so quick, and here comes, like, you don't even have a moment to like breathe. But yeah, so I got to like a 7 centimeters, and then by this point, you guys, it was like the day had gone by. It was like nighttime, and my mom and my kids had been at the hospital since like 9 or 10 o'clock that morning, and it was like 9 or 10 o'clock at night now. So we were like, let's just let them go home or whatever. My husband took them home, and they checked me again. It was probably like almost 11, 12 o'clock by this point at night, in the morning. So it was like 11 o'clock at night, I'm sorry. And so my husband finally got back. He took the kids and my mom back to my apartment, and I was fully dilated. So the doctor, keep in mind, he had other girls in labor there as well. So he was like delivering their baby while I was still progressing. And so at that point he left to the next room to go and deliver another baby. And then he told me to go ahead and start pushing, like practice pushing or whatever. And when they told me to start pushing, I was kind of like iffy about it because I didn't feel any type of pressure. Like, they could feel her head and everything. I was dilated, but I didn't feel that pressure that you feel when the baby like drops into position to come out. And it's a feeling that you cannot miss. Like, it's very noticeable, and that's painful. The pressure is painful even though you have your epidural or whatever. So I didn't feel that at all. So I was kind of like, why am I pushing? Why am I going to push if I don't feel that pressure? Because I just didn't feel ready to push. So I was pushing. I started pushing, I think, like at 12 o'clock in the morning, 12 o'clock a.m. So I started pushing, and he was over there still delivering babies. And so I was pushing and pushing, you guys. I pushed for an hour. Like, I pushed for an hour. And it was the most annoying thing. Like, I just kept praying the whole time, like, please let her head come down, because you know, the nurse was checking me and trying to feel for her head while I was pushing, and they said her head was still high, and or it was low, but it was still high, and to where she wasn't like in position to come out. So yeah, she wasn't like ready to come down yet. So I was just still pushing and pushing, and then the doctor came back in after he delivered a baby, and he checked me, and he was helping me push or whatever. And he was like, you're gonna have to do a lot of pushing because her head is still high. And so I don't know how it works. She was like at a 3. I don't know how it works. Her head was like at a -1, and you have to be at 3, something like that. And so I was just still pushing and pushing, and the doctor said he can feel that her head was turned. So he like put his hands and arms up inside of me while I was pushing to try and turn her head the right way, because her head was transverse. So she wasn't breached or anything, but her head was just turned to the side a little bit, and it was just making it hard for her head to move past my pelvic bone, whatever. So yeah, I just kept pushing and kept pushing. And you guys, if you watched my labor and delivery tag, you know that I said I would be so embarrassed if I pooped while in labor. And it happened. And I was like, I didn't even acknowledge the fact that I just pooped, you guys, in front of this nurse. She's down there, all in my business. I'm pushing. Nothing's coming out. It's not. Hold on, Tamaya. Go get your cup, Mason. So I'm just literally pushing for no reason, and nothing's coming out, so something has to come out. So yeah, I pooped, and it was really embarrassing, but I didn't say anything. My husband did, because he's just a jokester like that. He was like, dang babe, you just pooped all in her face, blah blah blah. And I'm like, okay, I just act like it didn't even happen. So anyways, the doctor, he delivers at 2 different hospitals. The hospital I was at was the same one that I delivered my son, and he had other patients in labor at the other hospital too. And the girl at the other hospital, she just so happened to be like fully dilated, so he had to go over there. And so since nothing was happening, the baby was not coming down, he said if she does not come down, or if nothing happens after a few more pushes, then we're gonna have to, he was like, we're gonna have to get her out through the tummy, meaning I was gonna have a C-section. And honestly, when he told me that, like, I noticed my husband just sat down. We didn't even look at each other. I don't know if we were just kind of like in shock or nervous, but I was just like, okay. So I didn't want to push anymore after that. I was like, during the whole hour I was pushing, I just wanted to say, I'm done. I'm not pushing no more. Just get her out. So I was okay with having a C-section. I didn't really think about it, and I was so exhausted. Like, I could not even keep my eyes open. So while he left to go deliver that baby, they had to give me a shot to stop my contractions. They had to stop the Pitocin and, you know, just stop me from having contractions so that my body can rest, and then obviously we're gonna have to prep for a C-section. So I think he was gone for about an hour, and during that time I don't remember much because I was so out of it. I was so exhausted from pushing. And so when he got back, you know, they were just kind of explaining what all they were gonna do. He said I was gonna have a C-section, which was fine. I'm glad that I went through the whole labor process and then just had to have a C-section. It was not an emergency C-section or anything like that. Our heart rates and vitals were still great, even after being in labor all day, even after the baby going through me pushing and everything. We were still great. And my water had been broke for hours. But so yeah, it wasn't an emergency C-section. It was just the last option. So honestly, I'm glad that was how it happened, because I was more calm and I didn't feel so scared as if I would have had like a scheduled C-section. I would have been terrified. So yeah, they told us everything that they were gonna do. How they were gonna prep me and everything. They gave my husband the suit that he's supposed to suit up in, and yeah, we didn't really talk about it or look at each other or anything. We were just like, this is what's happening. So you know, they take you back into the room and everything, and it's super, super cold. And yeah, like, they prep you and they try to ask you, they give you all the numbing medication or whatever, and your arms are literally out like this on the table. So they use something to test your belly area and, you know, to make sure you're numb, and they ask you, can you feel this? Does this hurt? Or can you feel this, but does it hurt? Because there's a difference. You can still feel it. You can be numb and feel them moving around down there, but it doesn't hurt. So when he was doing that, I would let him know, you know, this hurt. Like, I was like, no, I feel that. You need to do something about it. Or, you know, I can just tell him, I feel it down there. Or I feel you down there. So anyways, I was completely numb, and then they started at like 3:15, I think is when that surgery started. And then she was born finally at 3:33 a.m. And when they pulled her out and I heard her, she immediately started crying, and I just wanted to cry. I almost did, but then I was like, you know, I didn't cry. And yeah, she was born, and the longest part was them stitching me back up. I did get my tubes tied, and it took about an hour and a half for them to stitch me back up and everything, and I did get staples. So yeah, I had to have a C-section, you guys, and I never ever thought that I was going to have a C-section, because you know, I had two natural births, two completely fine regular natural births, and I kind of feel disappointed that I had to have a C-section, because, you know, I had the other two natural, and that's just what I always planned and envisioned in my mind was going to happen with this baby. But that's not how God wanted everything to go. So yeah, I had to have a C-section. And you guys, honestly, if I had to have a C-section with my first child, I don't think I would have had any more kids, just because I could not go through another C-section at all. And I know mothers go through it all the time, like, and they have multiple kids. Like my friend, she had 3 C-sections, and I just know personally for me, I could not go through that again. After you have a C-section, your body is just so sore, and obviously you just had major surgery. I was so terrified to get out of the bed after having a C-section. Because obviously they make you get up and go pee and walk around, because, you know, you have to move around, or your body's going to just get so stiff and it's just going to hurt worse. And that pain of getting up after having a C-section is the worst pain and most terrifying thing that I've ever gone through in my life. So I'll probably do a separate video on my C-section and my recovery and everything. So I'm 2 weeks postpartum, 2 weeks and like 2 weeks and 2 days postpartum, and I mean, I'm healing up pretty good. I still am very sore. I still get stiff and everything, and it's just a work in progress. I still have swelling down there in the area that I had the surgery or whatever, the cut. I did get my staples out already. I got my staples out last week. And then I go back on Monday for him to, you know, recheck everything. There's Mason. Say hi. Oh, the baby's sleeping. Shh. Okay, so yeah, I'll probably do a separate video on that just because I have a lot to say about having a C-section. Ooh. So yeah. Oh, and before I forget, I wanted to mention my daughter does not look like, to me, she doesn't look like her siblings or anybody. What are you doing? Say hi. Say I got a mohawk. I got my hair cut into a mohawk. So yeah. Oh, and I can't lift or anything. I can't lift, you know, anything besides the baby because you don't want to lift or anything and like hurt yourself and like reopen your cut. And I can't even pick my baby up, so I try to get as many hugs and snuggles as I can. I can't give them baths or anything. I can't like lift them into the bathtub. So like I said, I'll make a whole separate video on the C-section and everything. But like I said, she doesn't look like anybody, and it was funny because my husband was like, she's not mine, she don't look like me, because our other two kids look just like him, even when they were born. I do think she looks a lot like me when I was born and, you know, as a kid, but she looks exactly like, she looks so close to my grandmother that passed away. And my grandmother is always around and always with me when I'm in labor. She's just always taking away the pain, which is why I'm always able to handle the labor pains and everything. She's just always with me, and her presence is always around me. And so her presence is always with Aaliyah. She looks just like my grandmother. She has such a calming spirit around her. She's just such a good baby, and I believe that my grandmother is with her. So let me show you guys, I guess I'll show you guys my belly and how everything's healing up. I was joking with my friend when I was in the hospital. And I was just telling her they must like suck some extra fat out because my stomach seems to really go down a lot quicker than it did when I had natural births. And also the bleeding is a lot less when you have a C-section because they clean your uterus. He cleans your uterus out really well. Obviously you're still gonna bleed and all that stuff, but it's not as much as if you know, if you have a natural birth, everything's just like falling out. So yeah, I'm gonna show you guys my belly, and then I will show you guys the baby. She is asleep, but I hear her moving around. So yeah, let me just show you guys my stomach. Ooh, and I'm still sore, you guys, and I'm still swollen, but this is my stomach from the front. And then this is it from the side. So this is my stomach. Ooh. From the front. And then from the side. So my stomach has went down a lot, but there's still swelling down here, and it's still very numb down here, which is very, very weird to me. But I don't know if you guys can see. Well, here is this. I have these little steri strips on right now, but it's still very swollen right here. But yeah, that's my 2-week postpartum belly. Ooh, sorry. Ooh. Okay, so yeah, guys, that's my labor and delivery story. I hope it's not all over the place. Like I said, I'm gonna probably do a separate video letting you guys know like about my C-section and like the recovery and everything. So yeah, let me show you guys the baby. I'm just excited to not be pregnant anymore. I can like breathe again. And I was 182 when I went in to have her. Yes, I was 182. I don't know how much I weigh now, but I do feel like I've lost some weight. Obviously, you know, the baby weight and the placenta and all the water weight and all that helps, you know, with the pounds. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will go grab the baby so you guys can see her, and then yeah, we'll just see you in another video. Okay guys, so she's sleeping. I didn't want to pick her up and bother her because you know how it is when you don't want to wake a sleeping baby. But there she is, and she's moving. She's so sweet, you guys. She is 2 weeks and 2 days old, and she is perfect.